What is it about modern times that means so many of us have difficulty in finding purpose?
Such a big question. Purpose, I think of the three core functions of existence: survival, reproduction, and purpose. Purpose is now one of the main either enabling factors or inhibiting factors for people in modern day life. Because survival we've pretty much cracked. Like if you think about it, we do no longer run from saber-toothed tigers every day, or we're no longer in a life or death situation every single day. Some people have experienced those things, granted. You know, there are still atrocities in the world and illnesses and things that are life or death. But if you think about the average person on the average day, it's not really life or death every day anymore. So your survival mechanism at a true level is pretty much okay. Reproduction, you know, most people find a mate and reproduce, and if you don't, that's okay. But again, continuity of the species has been something that we've been pretty good at for many years now. But purpose in modern day life is very interesting, because your purpose was very clear back then. It was stay alive, hunt, forage, farm, mate, protect the tribe. And within that, you was probably good at one of those skill sets. You was either the forager or the leader or the hunter or the gatherer or the caregiver. And therefore purposes were quite clearly defined. You fast forward to today, I mean, what is purpose? We have more roles than we've ever had in our entire life. We've got to be a husband, a wife, we've got to be a partner, we've got to be a colleague, we've got to be an auntie, an uncle, a cousin, a niece, a nephew, we've got to be a sports coach, we've got to be a career professional, right? We've got to be a hobbyist. We've got so many things in our life, it's cluttered with so many things that we spread ourselves so thinly these days and try to do everything well, that sometimes we dilute our ability to understand what our true purpose is. And some people find it in their careers and go, my purpose is I get up and I go to work every day and I love it. Some people probably watching this thinking, I've never felt like that about work. Some people go, being a father or a mother gives me purpose, having my children. And other people say, that's not enough for me. That's like Groundhog Day. I need more. I need to exist outside of the identity of being a mother or a father. You know, some people want to run charities, raise money, be a sports coach and give back to the community, to the young kids. There's lots of different things that can constitute purpose. And this is why I always say purpose is different things to different people. But to answer your question, I think it's harder for people to find it these days because we are overwhelmed with both the roles that we play in modern day life. We are diluting our focus on something that's substantial and that means something to us. And I think the one thing we know in psychology is, as much as survival can send you into that threat state, as much as survival can create that anxiety and that ill feeling, lack of purpose does exactly the same. Just because you're not experiencing immediate threat or anything traumatic doesn't mean to say that it can't harm your mental well-being. If you don't feel like you get up every morning and you've got something to contribute and you go somewhere that gives you meaning, that equally can upset the balancing the scales of that mental well-being. So purpose is important, but I think we live in a day and an age, and we haven't even talked about the digital world and social media and the influences all of this other stuff has on our brain. But I think people are struggling more than they used to establish what their purpose is, or what gives them that true fulfillment. And quite often here at T2, that's a lot of the conversations we have when we're engaging in coaching and support.
Yeah, I've just thought of this then, but I guess it sort of comes down to the amount of choice that we have.
We are overwhelmed with consumption. Consumption of information, consumption of materialistic things, consumption of choices of experience and activities that we can do. And there's a big part of this around, in order to sometimes think and establish purpose through having vision and imagination, is being sabotaged by the fact that the younger generations and our children never have a moment where they're sat doing nothing. Like, for example, my son, you can almost see it in him. If he's not on an iPad or on FIFA or watching YouTube or playing in the garden or doing something or having something to do, it's like he can't sit and cope and just sit in the moment and have a conversation and think. I mean, a lot of people would say most kids are like that anyway. But the point being is, when we were young, we didn't have all these devices and all the access to Netflix and, you know, on-demand everything. We never had all of this. So you almost had to sometimes get used to doing nothing, or then go outside or find something to do. So I think, as I cover in the book, in your neutral state, I call it, that's the time for reflection and imagination to really kick in, which really allows you sometimes to think about what your purpose is. But I'm not so sure we live in a modern day life where we have the time to explore imagination, to reflect on what we're doing, what we have done, what's important to us, and therefore struggle to really find what our purpose is. So I think consumption in modern day life, and more choice than ever, it's a wonderful thing in many ways, but it's also a challenge to some of our fundamentals and the way our mind works.
Yeah.